Alright, so I came out here today to fill up the engine with coolant. Just water actually for now. And as it was filling up, I heard something leaking out, and it was actually some of the freeze plugs I have popped out. Not all the way, but a little bit, enough for it to leak to where it's not really safe to drive. So we're going to have to redo the freeze plugs, at least the ones that are leaking. And to do that, they're really hard to reach. I should be able to pop them out. I can't even get the camera down in there. Maybe. Can you see? Alright, maybe. I can't even see the camera from here. I have it so far down. But I think I can see one. But some of them are right behind the motor mounts, and they're going to be really hard to get to. I should be able to pop them out okay and pull them out. But getting new ones in would be really difficult to do the hammer-in ones. So what I got was with some of these expandable freeze plugs. They're a lot more expensive than the 69-cent ones. I think these are $4 a piece or something. But you stick them in there, and then you tighten down that nut, and they'll expand outwards. So those will work in a tight pinch. Just a little tip for you. So we're gonna replace these. I don't think I'll be able to record that because I'll be under the car upside down using both my hands and not trying to get gross stuff and break my phone and everything. So I'll come back to you after I finish those. Maybe I can get a video of me getting one in so you can see how it works. Alright guys, so this was my freeze plug issue I was having here. As you can see, these things are completely rotten. This one was actually deteriorated. I popped that hole in it, but it had holes over here. This one, when it came out at all, so ended up hammering out the entire middle, and then once it didn't have that strength, it came out okay. This one was also corroded and leaking and punched out through there. I couldn't get them out myself. I tried with the hammer and screwdriver, ratchet extensions, everything I can do, but my boss here was able to give me a hand and help me out. He's over there somewhere doing something with some cars. So we were able to get them out thanks to him. And now we're going to put in the temporary plugs we got here, just because it's so hard to get to, and I don't want to hammer in different freeze plugs in an awkward angle and end up having them leak again. So I got these that I can stick in there. You stick them in the hole, and then you tighten this down, and it'll expand the rubber. And it's a good temporary fix. You can some people even run these permanently, but I wouldn't recommend that. So we're gonna go ahead and pop these in there and see if we can stop all our block leaks there. So I'm down here right by the motor mount, and you can see I got that first one in. It's not tightened down yet. What I have to do is take off the nut and wiggle it in there, because it wouldn't fit between the motor mount and the nut on there. Once I was able to wiggle it in without the nut on there, I was able to start the thread and get it started. So I'm going to tighten that down, and it'll expand the rubber around the freeze plug port, I guess, and hopefully. Alright, so we got a radiator topped off here with water. We're going to cap that off, and we're going to look underneath, see if we see any dripping. And we do, but that's just from where it's dripping from where it spilled on the radiator, but nothing coming out of the block thus far. Yeah, nothing dripping from the engine itself. We're going to come back in the morning tomorrow and see if anything has seeped through anywhere and dripped out. Both sides looking nice and dry. See the plugs up there? Looking good. Quick recap of everything we've done to get the engine to the point where it's ready to run. First, we cranked it over by hand with the breaker bar, and it turned pretty freely. So next step was to bump it over the starter and see if that would turn it. But before we did that, we aired everything out to make sure we wouldn't suck any dust and dirt up through the engine. And then once it turned with the starter, we started ready to fire it. So what we did is we took out all the spark plugs, we poured some pre-lubrication, some mystery oil, Marvel mystery oil, into the cylinders through the spark plug holes. And we put the spark plugs back in. We let that sit for a couple days, or for 1 day, I'm sorry. And then we pulled the spark plugs back out. We fired the engine again, or we spun the engine again with the starter, blew everything out of the cylinders, whatever oil was left in there. And then we put the spark plugs back in, hooked everything up. Before we hot wired it, we just bumped the
starter over with some starter fluid in the carb to see if it would light, and it did light, so that was good. We rebuilt the carburetor. We changed our freeze plugs. We found a radiator. We hooked up the radiator. We found a fan and a fan clutch and the pulleys, and we hooked all that up. We got a belt, alternator bracket, and then we had our fuel system that is kind of jerry-rigged in here. It's going just from the tank to the pump, which is a good pump. I got an X one just in case, but that one's fine. Then we're going up to a fuel filter, into the carb, and so we're ready to fire. We were having a problem grounding our battery out earlier with the ground cable, so I ran out and grabbed a new ground cable here, made in USA. So we're going to throw that on there. Alright, ground's hooked up. This one's got a little bit more spark than the other one already. Alright, positive. Couple squirts of fuel. Oh my gosh. Look at that. All those years. Runs like a freaking dream. Don't see any water squirting out. Hot wire's working good. I'm not gonna get crazy with it. Let's go see if our instrument cluster works at all. See if we're getting any oil pressure. Okay, so we're not getting any oil pressure on the cluster. It might not be working. Oh, probably because we don't have ignition. So that could be why that's not working. Alright, so next we're going to pop off this tire. I got a couple tires to throw on here. I think it's the only one needed replaced though. The other one should be alright. The other ones look okay. We're going to replace that tire, check the transmission fluid, change fluids, and should be good to move. I'm going to set the camera up here so we can see how it sounds, because I'm curious. You know how we sound. Alright. All reliable Ford, man. What can you say? That is amazing. I'm pretty excited, man. This is a $600 truck, and it runs that good. Why was it ever in the junkyard? I'm sure we'll find out eventually. But right now, we'll take our victory.